accents, not the greatest of voices, still got a 9. So kung ginaya ko, mas kaya nyo because some of you have much better speaking voices than I do. So if I did it, you can also do it. Definitely, you just need to know some strategies, proper strategies. Hindi lang basta-basta strategies. That's why we entitled this session, Live Speaking Practice with a Band 9 Speaker. So I got a 9 in, well, admittedly, just to be honest, not so that you won't be misled. I didn't get 9 the first time I took the test. My first one was 2006, and actually my speaking, okay, my speaking score was at my lowest. Then first try ko 7.5. Okay, and then gradually it improved. I took the test again, 2012, got I think 8.5. Okay, 2019 got 9. Last year, July, got 9. Okay, so nakuha din sa tiyaga. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the format of the test because 2 weeks ago, I think I focused on the format and the grading system. Okay, that's why this week, yeah, we're focusing more on actually answering IELTS questions. Pero gusto kong balikan ng konti so that you're gonna have so that you have a little bit of information. Okay. There you go. So let's have a look at the speaking test. Let's see some details. Oops. Where is it? Should be this one. Okay, wait lang po. Okay. Wait lang, some technical problems. I need to close some of these there. Go. Okay, and nice na. So let's have a look at this presentation. I'm gonna skip the parts that you don't need. There you go. So let's focus on the writing exam. Sorry, the speaking test. So it's the shortest among the 4. It's only 11 to 14 minutes. In comparison, yung listening test, it's about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on which modality you choose. Depende kung paper-based yan, it's gonna be around 40 minutes. Kung naman computer-delivered test, it's gonna be around 32, 33 minutes. Okay? And then the reading test, of course, is always 1 hour. The writing test is 1 hour. So relatively speaking, is quite short. Hindi man siya aabot ng 15 minutes. Okay, if you've heard some other people say 15, it's not. Okay, the actual timing is 11 to 14. 1 minute lang naman. These things are very important. They take them seriously. An examiner will not exceed this. Okay. So the way that IELTS does it is through a one-on-one interview. Okay. Right now in the Philippines, they do VCS, so video call speaking. So the examiner will not be in the same room. Instead, you'll be in separate rooms, and then each of you will have a computer terminal. Naka-provide na po yun, and the equipment is quite nice. It's to avoid people affecting each other with the various variants of the COVID virus. But it's still a one-on-one interview. It's live and it's recorded. In other countries, they still do the face-to-face interviews, which I don't really like because I think it's not safe. But you will need to wear your mask in that case. So this test is divided into 3 parts. You have part 1, the introduction and the interview. Part 2, the individual long-term. Don't worry, we'll be looking at questions for each of these. And then part 3, you have your two-way discussion. So of course, it starts easy. Yan, yung part 1, madali lang yan. I mean, very simple questions. You just answer them with at least 2 sentences. By the way, don't answer with 1 sentence minimum po, dalawa. Okay? What's important with part one is you answer immediately. Okay? Please don't wait like more than 5 seconds before you answer. Kailangan mabilis. Kasi nga, these are just simple questions. So please don't wait too long to answer. Madali lang yan. Your favorite food, your hobbies, your interests, whether you exercise, whether you have pets. It's all gonna be what it will be all about you, your opinions, your habits, your personal information. And then for part two, it gets a bit harder because you will need to speak about a single topic for a long period of time. What is a long period of time? It's 2 minutes. So they'll give you a topic, and then you will have 1 minute to prepare. They're going to provide you with a pencil and with a piece of paper so that you can make notes. After 1 minute, they will take away the questions. Hindi nyo na makikita. You cannot request, sir, I'm sorry, can I see the question again? No, you're already given 1 minute. Okay, so learn how to make notes. Making notes is a very important skill that you need to develop so that you can plan your answers and you can organize them more thoroughly. So part two, yan. Tapos the examiner will stay quiet for 2 minutes. How do you know that the 2 minutes are up? When the examiner starts asking questions, then it's up. Then you can start, then you will be discussing again, back and forth. Okay, but the examiner is not allowed to speak before the 2 minutes are up. Even if you run out of things to say, kahit wala ka nang masabi, the examiner, some of them might just encourage you to speak more. Some of them will just stay quiet and look at you like that. It depends on the examiner. But as long as they're not speaking, it means you still have time. Some advice for part two, don't panic too much. Some people run out of things to say at around 1 minute, 1.5. And then they panic, they get scared, they get frustrated. Tapos wala na silang masasabi. Don't do that. So please relax, take a breath, look at your notes, think of things that you haven't said yet, and then continue speaking. It's okay to take a pause because for the 2 minutes, you're not required to speak nonstop. You just need to speak to give more details about a specific topic. Hindi naman sinabing nonstop. You don't need to be like Eminem who can speak for like a whole song without stopping. Hindi naman po. It's just telling a story in detail. So that's part two. And then for part three, it's called a two-way discussion. Of course, the questions here will be more complex. And for part three, you need to give longer answers. For part one kasi, 2 to 3 sentences, that's fine. 2 to 3 sentences, that's fine. That's enough. However, for part three, it needs to be double that. So if you can answer with like at least 4 sentences, maybe even 5, then it would be much better for you. I have a message here. So we have 76 viewers in our Facebook stream and 32 viewers or participants or guests in our Zoom room. For the people on FB, I'll be asking for your answers later, and I'll be giving comments on them. If you want to be more participative, if you want your answers to be included in our comments later, maybe it's better if you transfer to the Zoom webinar room. Admins, maybe you can give the link. Pwede nyo bang post yung link dun sa comments? Yeah, so that they can join here. Para ma-check din natin yung mga sagot nila. I want to check as many of your answers as possible and give you advice. Please guys, huwag kayong mahiya. Why? I don't know you. Okay? I don't know your faces. Even if you make a mistake here, it's okay. It's better to make a mistake now rather than make a mistake during the test. Napansin ko kasi, I've been teaching for 16 years in this industry. I'm probably one of the most, I don't want to say oldest. Maybe, ano ba magandang word? Maybe one of the most experienced teachers here in the country. I only know like maybe 2 other teachers who've been teaching longer than I've been. Okay. So, napansin ko lang, especially with Filipino clients, minsan nagpapauna tayo sa hiya. Remember, if you don't make mistakes, you won't improve. Okay, the key is after making that mistake, you improve it. You look for a better way. Ganyan lang yan. So wag kayo maya, share your answers so that we can comment on them. I mean, even the best teacher cannot help you if they don't hear how you speak. So kailangan po mag-participate. Right? Let's continue. So, how is your speaking performance graded? There are 4 things. I discussed these in detail. Talagang detalyado during my previous session. That's 2 weeks ago. If you want a detailed discussion on this one, I think the video is posted. Nandyan sa IFNG. It's on the IFNG page. You can watch it. I discussed this in detail. Just in case you want a more detailed, if you want a copy of this grading system, you just go to Google and then you type, ano type nyo? IELTS speaking descriptors. Okay, IELTS speaking descriptors. Then you go to the IELTS.org website, nandun po yan. Pwede nyo i-download, it will give you the detailed grading system. In fact, sige na, if you want to see it, ito, I have a copy. Of course, I have a copy. Here you go. Spinning. Let me show it to you. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the public version of the speaking descriptors, as they call them. Ito po yung grading system na ginagamit. And it has a detailed description of each one of the criteria. So, fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. But I want to explain them to you in my own way for now. Because the last time nga, I explained it one by one. So ngayon, general lang. Let's talk about fluency and coherence first. I'm gonna flash it anyway. Para makita nyo. So fluency and coherence, band 7. What's the most important one here? Yan. Speaks at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. For me, this is the heart of this. Of course, the other bullet points are important, pero kung ayaw nyo masyadong complex, dito na lang tayo mag-focus. First condition is speaks at length. You have to give longer answers. Yes, in normal life, you can get away with saying yes, no, maybe. However, this is a speaking test. So you need to show off your skill. Never give short answers. Maybe the only question that you can answer with with just a few words, with just one sentence would be, what's your name? Sabihin nyo lang pangalan nyo. My name is Lee J. De Jesus. But all the other IELTS questions, minimum 2 sentences. That's the bare minimum. If you can give more than that, then it would be wonderful. First condition, speaks at length. This is also important in speaking part 2. Okay, because in part 2, they will give you a set of topics, and then they will give you 1 minute to think and then 2 minutes to speak. What if di mo naabot yung 2 minutes? What if you only spoke for 1 minute? Then it's gonna be difficult to get a good score. Okay? Because of this condition, you have to speak at length. You were given 2 minutes, you only spoke for half. Did you speak at length? Not really. Sir, so do you mean to say it's not possible to get a high score if I don't complete the 2 minutes? Well, it is possible. I've seen some students get 7 even if they only spoke for like maybe a minute and a half, a minute 40. But 1 minute, your answer would need to be really, really, really good to get a good score for that. Tsaka sa totoo lang, yung po 2 minutes, di naman mahirap yan kung alam niyo yung ginagawa niyo. In fact, I'm gonna be teaching you a few techniques today. And tignan nyo kung meron kayong improvement. Yeah, I have this magic. I have this magic activity. I'll give you a taste of it later. Makita nyo yung what a little knowledge, what a little experience can bring. So, speak at length without noticeable effort. Even if you can give a long answer, kung effort na effort ka naman, if you're, for instance, if you were able to speak for 2 minutes, but you had a lot of long pauses and if you've had a lot of those mga fillers, then it might not be a 7 still. So I think that's one of the most common issues or one of the most common concerns with people studying for the IELTS. Sir, marami akong Yeah, of course, because you're just starting out. But the key to this is practice, proper practice, high quality practice, repetition. Being more familiar with the process, repeating the skill, repeating the actions, so that mababawas yung silences, mababawas din yung mga right? So you have to speak at length. You have to show a certain degree of confidence and comfort when you do this. And finally, you have to be able to speak at length without loss of coherence. It says here, speaks at length without loss of coherence. Ang ibig pong sabihin nun, hindi ka na off topic. Baka nga nagbigay ka ng mahabang sagot, tapos off topic ka naman. That's not a 7 because sometimes people do that. And they start with a good answer, but in their effort to elaborate it, sometimes they go off topic. Would you like a demonstration? Sige, demonstrate ko sa inyo. Can one of the admins ask me something easy pang part 1? Sige, any IELTS question that you've seen? Sige. I will demonstrate, speaks at length pero mawawala yung coherence. Or any of the participants. Okay lang po. That's our goal today, question and answer. You can just turn on your microphones.
Hello, sir. Ako bang?
Yes. O sige,
Alright.
nauna ka eh.
Alright.
Huwag mong bigyan ng physics, mahirap yan.
Ay, no. Gagamitin ko British accent ko or ano? Walang ganon? Oh, sige. Hanap tayo ko. Alright. Where are you? Ito na lang ang usual common questions na nakikita ko. Are you working or are you a student?
Oh, I'm 39 years old, so I'm working. I work as I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I work as an IELTS preparation coach, and I got into this by accident. My original undergrad was actually biology, and I took it because my grandfather wanted me to become a doctor, but then he died when I think I was just in first year college, so I didn't have the heart to pursue medicine. What? Parang, teka lang. Okay naman sa simula, it was okay at first. Right? In fact, the way it was answered, it was nice. Kasi bakit? I was laughing. I showed that I was really comfortable with it. Okay? But then what happens? Suddenly I got emotional and I was talking about my grandfather, maybe a bit too much. That would be okay in part 2, maybe in part 3. But for part 1, ang dali lang ng tanong are you working or studying? So maybe you can just say, I'm employed right now in a review center. I actually teach people how to get a better score for their IELTS test. Ayun, ganun lang sagot. It's just a part 1 question. 2 to 3 sentences. Direct answer lang. So sabihin mo, you answer the question, nagtatrabaho ka ba, estudyante ka? If you tell them that you're still studying, maybe you can mention the school or you can mention your course. There's so many things you can add to your answer. If you tell them that you're working, you can say the name of your company. You can say the region, the place, the city where you work, or maybe a short description of your work or what you like about your job. Ang dami naman pwedeng idagdag. So many things. By the way, if the examiner asks you, are you working or studying? Please don't use the words working or studying because you might not get a good score for vocabulary. Show them that you know synonyms, that you know how to paraphrase. Okay? Pero going back to my point, if you give a longer answer, make sure you don't go off topic. Right? I think that's the heart of that first category. Okay. Ano ba yung category na yun that we remind the latecomers? Fluency and coherence. To summarize, fluency, long answers, give details, tell a good story. And then coherence, your answer should make sense. It should not go off topic. Fluency and coherence, boom, simple. Okay. The next one, how many sentences? Here's a question from one of our participants. Guys, I think it would be better if you just send your message to as a public message so that the other participants can benefit from your questions. Kasi baka pareho lang kayo ng questions para hindi nila ulitin. Okay, Jazz? Yeah. So, how many sentences is recommended for answering? For part 1, sulat nyo sa notebook nyo. I hope you have a notebook ready. For part 1, 2 to 3 sentences. Boom. That's it. What's important in part 1? You answer quickly. Answer quickly. 2 to 3 sentences. How about for part 2? Medyo mahirap yun because it's 2 minutes. But in my experience, part 2, mga 200 to 250 words. So if you divide it by 20, that's around maybe tapos dagdag ng konti. Maybe 15 to 20 sentences. Mahirap naman bilangin eh. What's important for part 2 is actually the timing. For part 3, I can give you an estimate for the number of sentences. It should be around 4. If you can give 5, that would be, if you can say 5 sentences, that would be wonderful. Pero 4, that's a nice number. It can already get you 7 and up. All right. Of course, the people who get 9, they can probably answer double that. Kasi madadaldal talaga. Usually people who get 9, they're really knowledgeable and they're prepared. They've seen these questions before, so they have a lot to say. Pero kung 7 lang target nyo, 4 good sentences is all that you need. For part 3. Okay, malinaw na? You got? So, keep those questions coming. I love it when you ask things like this. Balik tayo sa grading system. Quick discussion. The next one is lexical resource or vocabulary. No problem. Vocabulary. So, ang dami na namang descriptions. Let me simplify it for you. This one is one of the most important things. Uses paraphrase effectively. I told you earlier, when the examiner asks you, are you working or studying? Don't say I'm working or don't say I'm studying. Why? Because paraphrasing is a requirement. Look, Band 8, kahit Band 8 to, Band 8 uses paraphrase effectively as required. Band 7 uses paraphrase effectively. Band 6 generally paraphrases successfully. Ba tayo? Band 5 attempts to use paraphrase but with mixed success. Then Band 4 rarely attempts paraphrase. Sometimes there are people who have a pretty good level of English, but they don't know what the examiners are looking for. So they don't get the grade that they deserve. Magaling naman mag-English, but they just keep on repeating the words because they didn't know that it's a requirement. So kayo, may advantage na kayo, people who are listening today, because you know what they're looking for. And for Band 7, what they want is this one. You need to paraphrase effectively. What does that mean? Paraphrasing means using synonyms, using pronouns, okay, using other words, and not avoiding using exactly the same words that the examiner stated. So, are you working or studying? Instead of saying, oh, I'm working or I work, maybe you can say, I'm employed as, okay, sabihin nyo na lang diretso, I'm a nurse, I'm an architect. Yeah, I work in sales, so pwede yun. And it sounds natural. Instead of saying that I'm a student, you can show off your vocab already by saying I'm a freshman. Usually ang sinasabi natin, I'm in first year, I'm in second year, I'm in third year, I'm in fourth year. Dude, you can get a higher score by saying I'm a sophomore. Uy. In fact, kahit na third year ka, you can still say I'm a sophomore. Why? Because the examiner actually doesn't know if what you're saying is true or not. Okay, the point is, grab those opportunities to show off your vocab. Okay? I'm a junior, I'm a senior, I'm a graduating student, or kung nagma-masters kayo or PhD, I'm a graduate student. I'm working on my master's. I'm working towards a PhD this year. Wow, working towards a PhD. Bongga. O, kesa naman, oh, I'm a student. Or, oh, I'm studying. Good, paraphrase. Of course, it's gonna be hard if you do it on the spot. That's why you need to practice regularly. Just because you heard me say that doesn't mean you'll be able to do it. So the effort that you put into thinking ahead, ang laking bagay niya. Just to demonstrate, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. And if you want to participate, maybe I will check the first three who answer me. All right. They will, okay, here's a question. The examiners won't cross-examine my answers, right? Oh, no, of course not. Guys, they're not getting paid enough to do that. Ba't naman nila kayo cross-examine? They will try to see if your answers are accurate or not. Of course not. For example, sinabi mo you were born in, I don't know, 1989. Tapos mukha kang baby face. Doesn't mean that they will try to cross-examine you or ask for your passport or what. No, of course not. What they're grading, here's what you need to understand. It's a language test. Okay. Importante yan. It might sound simple, but if you get this into your head, it will change the way that you approach this test. Ulitin ko lang it's just a language test. I've spoken with so many examiners. I've attended so many workshops. I've been attending since my first one was 2006 with British Council. So I attend with IDP and British Council every time they have training. Right? So what they always say is, we're just here to grade your language. That's it. We're just here to take a look at your English. We're not here to prosecute you. I just want to ask you these questions, give you a grade, go home, get paid, drink my beer, done for the day. Yun laging ganun. So they don't really care whatever, if what you're saying is true or not. Because it's not there. Ano ba yung ginegradean? Fluency and coherence. There on screen, fluency and coherence. Okay? Lexical resource, grammar, pronunciation. Nasaan dyan yung truthfulness? Nasaan yung accuracy of real life data, real life information, real life answers? Wala, di ba? It's not there. In fact, one of my mentors, an Australian teacher, ang sabi niya sa akin, okay, meron siyang favorite question. He has a favorite question na describe your dream house, or describe a house where you'd like to live in someday. Most Filipinos, alam niyo yung sinasagot. Sige, isipin, I'm gonna give you a few seconds. What would you answer? Hulaan ko. Ito yung sabi ni teacher, ni Boss Bob sa akin, yung mentor ko na Australian. Sabi niya, most Filipinos would say, oh, I'm just a simple person. So I'd like a simple house. Just enough to accommodate me and my family. Okay, and actually, totoo yun, because every time I ask that question, about half of the class, or actually more than half, would answer that. The problem is, will that kind of answer allow you to show off your language skills? Will it allow you to show off good vocabulary? Will it allow you to form compound or complex sentences? Dapat. Okay, grab niyo yung opportunity. Keep in mind, it's just a language test. Ang paboritong sagot ni Bob to that answer, describe a place or describe your dream house, dream home. Ang lagi niyang sinasabi, oh, I'd like to try living in a castle someday. Wow, castillo, palacio. You can say castle or palace. Why? Because it will allow you to use more, ang tawag nila, less common vocabulary. Like what? Here are some examples of vocabs related to palaces or castles. So you can say that you're excited to have a moat around your castle. Does anyone know what a moat is? Sir, moat, mangka. Hindi po, bangka yun. Boat yun, boat. Okay. So what's a moat? Moat, that's a ditch that surrounds the castle. But they usually dug those ditches so that when the castle's being attacked, hindi madaling sugurin, no? Then they put some water there, or they put some movies, may crocodiles pa yun, or piranhas. All right. So you can use vocab like that. You can use words like, I'd like to live in a place where there's a drawbridge. Oh, no? Wow, a drawbridge. Okay, tama yan. A man-made ditch filled with water, usually surrounding a castle. And a drawbridge. Instead of a simple, oh, I'd like my apartment to have a glass door, a sliding door. Maybe you can say drawbridge. Wow, that's less common. Then you can say, oh, I'd like to live in the tallest, the tallest spire of my castle. Ano ba yung spire? Yung mga tore. Kung nasan si Rapunzel, Rapunzel, not Rapunzel, all right? Dito sa Pampanga, ang pronunciation namin dyan, Rapunzel. So it should be Rapunzel. Okay? A drawbridge. Yeah, movable bridge, usually up and down. See, so sometimes you being more creative with your answers will give you a better chance of scoring that band 7 that you've been trying to work on. So isipin nyo lang in advance, of course. It's hard to do that on the spot. So maybe it's best if you invest a little bit of time every day, as short as 15 minutes, okay, to think about the possible questions. Kasi ito lang, ulit-ulit ang questions na yan eh. They're just a repeat. They're just repeated every couple of months. They just repeat these questions. They change a few of the topics, maybe 20%, and then they just use the same questions. In fact, later on during our session, I will share with you some questions that came out yesterday in yesterday's exam from my student. She was very happy because we were able to practice those questions the day before her test. So naswertihan namin siya. Walang leakage siya. It was just, luck and a little bit of preparation. So yan, I hope I answered that. Mahaba akong sumagot, no? So they will not cross-examine your answers. They will just analyze the language that you use. Maybe they will ask follow-up questions if you didn't give enough detail, but will they challenge the truthfulness of your answers? Of course not. That's beyond the scope of the examiner's work. Okay, so keep those questions coming. Let's go back to the grading. So please, balik tayo dito. Uses paraphrase effectively. Don't copy the examiner's words. For example, if they ask you for part 2, talk about a movie that you saw a long time ago. Ako, Titanic. Talk about a movie that you saw a long time ago. Don't say movie at the beginning of your answer. Maybe you can say movie again in the middle or at the end of your answer. But at the beginning, you can just say, oh, a film. Okay. Or I saw Titanic at the cinema. Ganon, di ba? So, palitan niya. You avoid because it is a requirement. By the way, effectively is a very important word here. Effectively, because some people can paraphrase, but it's not natural. If you paraphrase, it still has to be natural. Kailangan bagay pa rin siya. Right? It still needs to sound nice. It shouldn't sound forced. If it sounds forced, then it's still a 6. It's not going to be a 7. Anyway, later I'll give you feedback on your answers if you want. Let's move on to grammar. So, yan, grammar. Band 7. Just pay attention to the first bullet point. Uses a range of complex structures with some flexibility. Compare natin sa band 6. Band 6 uses a mix of simple and complex structures, but with limited flexibility. So how do you do this, sir? That sounds so difficult and complicated. No, it's not. Ganito lang yan. Let me simplify it for you. Don't give short answers. Avoid using too many short sentences. That's it. Because what are these complex structures? Mga compound sentences and complex sentences. Okay, you remember those? Apat yan eh. Simple sentences. Okay, compound sentences. Complex sentences. And then yung compound complex. If you don't remember them, they're pretty easy to review. You can review them in probably less than 10 minutes. Go to YouTube. Look for them. Look for a lesson. It's free. Okay? So, for the purposes of the IELTS test, ganito lang. Don't give short answers. Always give some additional information and make sure that that additional information is actually coherent or it's related to the topic, right? Hey dog. So no short, no short answers, please. As for the grammatical errors, how do you fix that? Uh, well, you need to work with a teacher for that one. Okay, by the way, some of you might be intimidated or you might be worried about getting a good grammar score. If you graduated from college, you're probably at least a six, at least a band six already, if you're a college grad. Okay. So the goal here now is to get to a seven. How do you get to a seven? You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need to fix all of your errors. What you need to do is to identify probably just two, your top two most common errors. Ano ba? Lagi ka ba nagkakamali sa tenses? Lagi ka ba nagkakamali sa preposition? You need to identify it so that you can work on it. How will you identify it? You cannot do it by yourself. You need someone else to tell you. And that's where a good teacher, will be able to give you a lot of help. All right. If you're studying right now, and the teacher you're studying with does not give you detailed feedback like your most common grammatical mistake, sinasabi lang niya, hindi, sige, okay naman. Next time, gandaan mo lang yung pronunciation mo. Dapat parang American or dapat parang British. Kung ganun lang yung comments, you better look for another one. That's not very good instruction. Okay, if they don't even give you corrections or give you good samples on how to answer it, then I'd be wary. Baka naman pera-pera lang, alam niyo na, right? And the last part is pronunciation. A lot of people say pronunciation, but if you read this, NUN. So it's pronunciation. Okay. How do you get a good score for pronunciation? You'd be surprised because a lot of people think accent. Okay. Pronunciation is different from accents. To get an accent, you probably need to live in a place for a few years to get their accent. Ang kailangan lang, pronunciation that refers to the basic sounds. So let's take a look at the description para mas accurate tayo. I don't like this description. Look, sabi niya, it shows all the positive features of band 6 and some but not all of the positive features of band 8. And useless yan. Ang sinabi lang niya, you're more than a 6, you're less than an 8. So let's go to the next one. Angat tayo. Let's go to band 8. First bullet point, uses a wide range of pronunciation features. How will you be able to do this? You give long answers. Because the more words you use, the more pronunciation you'll be able to show. See? It's not that hard. Next. Sustains flexible use of features with only occasional lapses. It means that you're able to say the sounds properly. Sometimes you mispronounce it, but you obviously know the proper way to say it. That will still get you an 8. I'm not just talking about a 7 now, what we're looking at. Band 8 po ito mga to. Right? For example, F. Philippines, cell phone, photograph, Philippines, cell phone, photograph, Philippines. Out of 10 times, nagkamali ka ng isa or dalawa, that can still get you a good score because occasional lapses are allowed. Kasi obvious naman that you can say it. You were able to say it 8 times successfully. Maybe you weren't focusing or maybe it's a problematic sound for you really. Okay? Pero importante, you're able to show that you do know it, then that you can pronounce it properly. And finally, most important for me, for pronunciation, you need to be easy to understand throughout. Ayan. What does that mean? It means the examiner doesn't have a difficult time listening to you. So, proper volume. Make sure that they can hear you properly. Also, don't shout. Right? What else? If you have too many pauses and gaps, of course, it's gonna be harder to listen to you. So you need to minimize those. However, you don't need to speak too fast. In fact, I advise some of my students to actually slow down and they get surprised. Sorry, di ba dapat mabilis? Not necessarily. Okay, whatever your speed, you need to be easy to understand throughout. Kailangan madali kang intindihin. Okay? Also, enunciate, open your mouth. Don't eat your words. Make sure that you open your mouth and do that. This might be a problem for some people who have braces, so you need to take that into consideration. Baka naman mas magandang patanggal nyo muna for the test. Or practice to the point that it doesn't affect your speech anymore. Right? Sir, paano kung meron akong speech defect? Remember, not everyone was blessed enough to be given all the gifts. Alam niyo yun? So, if you do have medical condition, speech problem, and if you can prove it, if you can show your medical records, hindi pwedeng sinabi nyo lang, kailangan may prueba, kailangan may resibo. Okay, so walang fake news, walang fake claims pagdating sa IELTS. Everything has to be backed up by evidence. Right? So if you can show that when you apply for the test, then they will give you some consideration. Kasi tinanong ko na yan sa kanila dati eh. Because I had a student na medyo, I don't know the name for this, yung meron siyang, inuulit-ulit niya yung ibang syllables. Okay, sa atin, ang tawag natin, putal. So, do you know the medical term for that? Hindi ko alam eh. So, stammering English, okay? How about medical? Hindi ko alam yung medical term. So anyway, if you have that kind of problem, or maybe there's some sort of damage to your tongue from an accident, diba? Then walang problema yan, asikasuhin pa rin nila kayo. They will give you some consideration as long as the problem is authentic. Kasi naisip nyo na ba, paano mag-IELTS test yung pipe? There are mute people in this world. What, should they be forever limited? Tourette's? Tourette's yung ano yan, walang pigil, walang filter, no? Yung bigla na lang sinasabi yung bad words. Okay. Matik ko lang sabihin. Stuttering, yes, stammering, stuttering. So if you do have some sort of problem, they're not monsters, come on. They will give you consideration. Uy, kung dyslexic kayo, that will cause you problems in all of the tests. In reading, oo, definitely. Dyslexia, no? Nagpapalit yung letters. But it will also affect your writing test and even your speaking test, because you will need to read some questions for the speaking test. It will even affect your listening because you need to read the test paper. If you have dyslexia, please coordinate with British Council. In fact, if you're our student, we will coordinate with them for you. Okay, kami mismo asikasuhin namin yan. Right? So please, huwag kayong maya. Hindi nakakaya kung meron kayong impediment. Okay, if you have some sort of disability, may consideration yan. In fact, there's an IELTS test for blind people. They use Braille. I don't know how often they conduct it here in the Philippines. Okay, but in other countries, mas madalas yata siya. And we even have it here. Last time I heard, parang lumaning data ko. Maybe it's not up to date anymore. So anyway, you need to be easy to understand throughout. Yeah, we're here for you, definitely. And ito, L1 accent has minimal effect on intelligibility. Ang L1 accent ko po ay Kapampangan. Okay, Indians, of course, their L1 accent is Indian. Okay, French, L1 accent nila is French. So, what does this mean? Your accent should not affect the way that you speak English to the point that it makes it difficult to understand. Okay? So some people have a thick accent and it makes it difficult to understand them. Then you're not gonna get an 8. Maybe you won't even get a 7, baka 6 lang. So what do you need to do? You need to neutralize your accent. So if you have a Batanggenyo accent, Bisaya accent, Kapampangan accent, if you have a very noticeable Ilocano accent, for instance, anong gagawin nyo dapat yan? You minimize those accents. It doesn't mean that you need to speak like a Brit or like an Australian or ano pa ba, or like an American or Canadian. Hindi naman kailangan. Kasi nakanay na ko. You've been listening to me, right? Do I sound British to you? No, you don't. You're not. Okay. Not really. Hindi naman, di ba? Oh, do I sound what? I don't know. I don't sound Australian, definitely. I don't even sound American, I think. Okay, but I was able to get a 9 in pronunciation. Of course, this is not my L1 accent. Okay? If because if you speak with the typical Filipino accent na minsan ginagawa nilang joke sa mga napapanood ko, then of course you're not gonna get a 9. You just need to minimize it. So what are the common problem sounds for most Filipinos? No, really. Common problem sounds for Pinoy. Siyempre, mga FP, make sure that you can say it properly. Okay. Coconut oil. Coconut oil. Ay, gusto ko yan. Sana China oil. Okay. So, what else? VNB. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say 5. So, sir, what is your target score, sir? Sir, mababa lang po. 5. Nakuha yung F eh. Most people can say the F properly and then at the end, doon nawawala yung B, nagiging B instead of V. Instead of V, it becomes a B, nagiging 5. So how about you? Do you know your problem sounds? If you cannot even identify your problem sounds, paano nyo improve yung score nyo sa pronunciation? So advice, maybe starting from today, you need to record. You have probably some of you have some really, really nice high-tech cell phones, diba? With recorders. Ginagamit nyo ba? If you have the technology and you're not using it, then sayang naman yung pera nyo. Why don't you start recording yourself every practice session? I mean, if you're using Skype to practice with your group mates here in IFNG, there's a record button on Skype. If you're using Zoom, I think this one is being recorded, right? Record ba to? I don't know. But Zoom has a record function. If you don't have access to either of these, then your phone has a record function. Record ninyo yung sarili nyo and then you listen to yourself. Okay? Sayang naman yung sayang yung technology. I know some of you don't like doing it because sometimes it's funny. Parang nakakatawang pakinggan yung sarili o kaya nakakadyahe. However, that's the way to improve. In fact, in call centers, I told you, I've done some work for the call center industry. One of the most effective techniques that we use as trainers is to record our students. Kung meron kayong kilalang QA dyan, tanong nyo sa QA anong ginagawa nila. Their job is to record people and then listen and play back the recordings to them and analyze the problem. Guys, recording sarili nyo. Shameless plug from IFNG. Attend our daily practice in IFNG. And then Sunshine says, sometimes I have a problem. I have problems pronouncing FPVB. Oo naman. Hindi lang ikaw. A lot of people do. So what do you do? Maybe you can, sige, ano ba magandang practice? So what some people do is they make a list of words with the problem sound. So kunwari V, they list like 10 words and then they pronounce those words. Is that a good practice? In my opinion, it's not the best. If you really want to improve your pronunciation, you need to use those sounds within a sentence. So think of a sentence with that problem word or problem sound that you might use in the IELTS test. Diba? And then sabihin yung buong sentence, wag lang yung problem word. Kunwari, 5. Na problema ka sa 5. Instead of saying 5, 5, 5, sardinas yun. Okay, 5. Instead of practicing like that, sabihin mo sa buong sentence, di ba? My minimum target score for the IELTS is 5. Ay, mali. My minimum target score for IELTS is 5. That's how you practice within a sentence. Bakit? During the test, you won't be giving one-word answers, right? Sabi ko nga, 2 sentences minimum for part 1, at least 4 sentences for part 3. Diba? Other problem sounds. Wait, when I'm supposed to say corned beef, I say corned beef. Oh, sa Pampanga, ano kami, instead na 1.5, 1.5 kami, 1.5. Meron tayo lahat niyan. Another problematic sound for us is the soft PH sound, yung mother, father, brother, sister, sister yun. What? There, those, that, this. Why is it important to pronounce properly? Because if you don't pronounce it, with the proper sound, baka mag-iba ng meaning. Kunwari, those. Kung di mo masabi yung TH, ginawa mong dose. Iba na yun, di ba? Dose, parang dosage, yung sa ano yun eh. Yung amount, dosage. Mali na yung interpretation sa'yo na nakikinig. Instead of saying both, pareho, both. If you say both, iba na meaning nun, bangka. So try to analyze yourself. Yung bang mga mispronunciations mo, does it change the meaning of words? Because if yes, that might bring down your score to a 5. If you mispronounce pero malinaw pa rin yung meaning kasi, that's about a 6. Okay? There. Yung there, yung PHEIR, parang meron siyang slight na Y sound there. Okay? Tapos yun namang there, medyo masla siya. There, derecho. There. Okay? It's their car. Usually naman, titignan din nila yung context for homonyms, for words that sound alike. Minsan talaga mayroong mga words na parehong-pareho ng pagpo-pronounce. Malalaman naman yung meaning through context, through the sentence. Okay? Other problem sounds for us and for other races also. Words ending with TION or SION. Some people say Sean. Okay. So consolation, litigation, migration, perspiration. If you want it to sound better, dapat shun. Imbis na sion, it should be shun. So migration, state of the nation. I remember Jessica, so ito po, state of the nation. Should be state of the nation. Pronunciation, hindi pronunciation. Introduction, should, not introduction. Okay. And I've heard some foreign students of mine, sila naman, son. Hindi nila masabi yung sh. Nagiging introduction. Discussion. It should be discussion. Hindi rin naman discussion. Right? I'm looking at the chat box from Kath, how to pronounce northern. Tapos yung isa, southern. I used to pronounce this as southern when I was younger. Southern. Buti na lang may nagturo sa akin. Thank you for people like those. So it's southern. So instead of saying Southern Police District, you can say it's the Southern Police District. Ano ba yung susi dyan? Remember, nobody wants to have a hard time speaking. So ang ginagawa nila, itong mga English speakers, pinapadali nila. Alright? O nga naman, mas madali yung Southern kaysa sa Southern. That's why in speaking, you should be using more contractions. Are you familiar with contractions? 2 words that you turn into one word by combining them and then using an apostrophe. So I'm, instead of I am, I'm. Samples, shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, haven't, didn't, don't. Okay. It's, imbis na it is, it's. You should be using more of those because they're easier to say. You sound more fluent. Mas nag-flow yung speech ninyo. That's why if you listen to songs are full. They're full of contractions. Sample, I have from Aerosmith. I don't want to miss a thing. Instead of saying, I do not want to miss a thing. Okay, they say, I don't wanna, imbis na want to wanna. Okay, you'll find a lot of samples of these in songs. And pakinggan nyo, ano bang mas madaling sabihin? It is there or it's there? I am a nurse o I'm a nurse. Imbis na I am a, tatlo. Dalawa lang yan, I'm I'm a nurse. And you sound much better. Instead of saying, did you go there? Parang, did you go there? It's so chubby. Did you lang yan? Did you go there? Instead of saying, could you get the palacol? Sorry. Could you get the keys? Oh, imbis na, could you get the keys? Could you? Could you get the keys? Nagpa-practice ba kayo? I hope you're following along. If it's the first time you've learned this. Okay, so use more contractions. Yeah. Pakinggan nyo. How do they speak when you watch those videos on YouTube or on Netflix? Maybe you can adapt some of the shortcuts that native speakers use. Oh, thank you, Sunshine. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, yes. Imbis na, yes, I am learning, sir. Yes, I'm learning, Lee. Oh, by the way, don't say sir or ma'am too much in the test. All right. If you have to use the examiner's name. Ako, I write when they introduce themselves because the examiner will do that at the beginning. I write down their name or their nickname on the scratch paper. It will be provided for you. So write it down. So instead of saying sir when the urge strikes you, sabihin mo lang, okay, Lee, because people love their names, right? Our names are music to our ears. Although, wag din naman masyadong marami. So, I had this bad experience with customer service from, nakalimutan ko na kung Globe or Smart. They kept on saying my name like every sentence. Oh, okay, Mr. De Jesus. According to our records, Mr. De Jesus. Sabi ko, bro, you don't need to say my name. Diretsahin mo na lang. Okay? That's a case of too much. Okay? Masyado. Sumobra siya. So going back, other problem sounds, yung mga ano natin, ER sounds, especially at the end. Many candidates tend to pronounce it as Sorry, mali. Pala, yeah, like master, faster, bigger, smaller. Instead of saying make it sound like a U siguro, parang It might not be very comfortable for some of you. Look, and this not, look at my mouth. Instead of you can say Mas bilog siya. Drop your jaw. Listen to this. Sister. Okay, I'm gonna use it in a song. Hey, so sister. Hey, so sister. So ano mas tunog English? Yung Alright? Imbis na brother, you can say brother. Imbis na it's larger, you can say it's larger. Okay, mas tunog English, di ba? In fact, hindi lang sa dulo, even if the ER is at the middle or at the beginning of the word. Ganun din naman siya usually. Din siya. Yung kasing it's more Spanish. Right? Kunwari, terminate or terminate. Which sounds more English to you? Terminate or terminate? Siyempre yung terminate, right? Oh, even if you apply it to non-English words, tulad ng, ano ba yun? Ermita. That place in Old Manila. Ermita. If you say it like this, Ermita, wow, social. Ermita. Imbis na Ermita. Okay? Oh, imbis na coherence, yan. Coherence, di ba? Sorry, HE pala yun. It doesn't apply. I'm looking at the screen. Part 1, introduction and interview. Imbis na interview, it's interview. Sounds better. Okay. Now, here's a question. How to pronounce if the word ends with ed? Interview, internet, international. No, medyo may barado yan ang inong natin yan. Sa call center, they teach that na internet. Pero you know what? I didn't say internet or interview during my test. Sinabi lang, it's the internet. It's an interview. Huwag naman pwede naman meron pa rin konting T yun. In fact, that's, I don't like it. Okay, hindi naman ako nagre-grade sa inyo, don't worry. Ang arte ng ermita, sir. O naman. Pati nga yung sir imbes na sir, sir. O di ba? Mas tunog English. Balik tayo. How to pronounce daw kapag it ends with an ed? There's no one way to pronounce it, di ba? Because tulad niyan, ended, o ed siya. Okay? But if you have words like distanced, hindi naman distance, nagiging T yung dulo. So, what's the key here? Kung ano yung madaling sabihin, tsaka kung ano yung masarap pakinggan. Minsan, you can just use your ear. Ano ba mas maganda, distanced or distanced? Oh. Imbis na balanced o balanced. So ayan, medyo pagdating sa ED, more than one way po yan. Yes, sir. Right. Another problem sound, yung mga words ending in LE preceded by a vowel. O, ano yun? Yung mga BLE, CLE, FLE, GLE, mga SLE, TLE, hanggang all the way to Z, ZLE. Okay? Non-native speakers, especially us Filipinos, we tend to put an extra syllable, and this also applies to Koreans, Asian languages. Okay? We tend to put extra vowel sounds in between. Kunwari, here's an example. What's the biggest search engine in the world? I said Google. Actually, Google, hindi. It should be GLE, di ba? So, so it should be Google. Google, hindi Gel. Because if you say Gel, nilagyan mo ng extra syllable sa gitna, parang GEL, Gel, Google. No, it's not Google, it's Google. Okay? How about this? How do you... So I have a ball here. Okay? Yan. Pag binabounce mo yung bola na ganyan. Yan. Yan. So how do you pronounce it? If you say dribble, hindi siya masyadong tama kasi hindi naman ball yun. It's just BLE, so bo. So it's dribble. So don't say dribble, it's dribble. So it's not a table, it's table. Table. It's not cable, it's cable. Wow, pare, hassle. Hassle instead of hassle. So, tapos yung painitan ng tubig, that's, ano ba yung kettle? Tama ba yung kettle or kettle? So, dapat kettle, hindi kettle. Raffle. Raffle. It should be, that's a nice raffle. It's a big raffle. So, raffle, hindi raffle. So again, identify your mistakes, record yourselves, right? And then listen to the recording. How about YouTube? Okay, next sound na tayo. Curtain. A lot of people say curtain, right? No, it's curtain. Certain, not certain. Certain. Center. Recognize center. Center. Pwede rin siya. Center. Okay din. Center. Pwede rin siya. Let's go to the T sounds. Actually, tatlo yun eh. T, P, and K. Okay? Aspirated yung mga yan. So it's not P, it's P. May konting lawa. It's not T, it's T. And K is K. We tend to say them with the flat sound, di masyadong binubuga. For example, pakinggan nyo, no? 10. Ano mas tunog English? 10, di ba? 10. Imbis na 2, you can say 2. May buga ng konti. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little engines. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little engines. 10 little engine boys. 10 little engine boys. 10 little engine boys. 10, may buga. Imbis na pineapple, you can say pineapple. Instead of saying, imbis na kite, you can say kite. Ganun din sa YouTube. I hear a lot of people saying YouTube. Kung gusto niyo talaga yung pronunciation na yun, bugan niyo ng konti yung T. So YouTube or YouTube. Alright? Personally, I just say YouTube. But don't say YouTube lang. Masyadong flat. Pinubuga kasi yan. Okay? Ano pa ba? Pipa. Pipe. Oh, pangit pipe. Kailangan buga ng konti. Pipe. Right? Curtain. Yeah, pwede yan. 20. Ang tingin, pwede. 20. Pwede rin namang 20. 20. May pipa rin siya. Okay? You don't need to totally remove it. Squirrel. Mhm. Okay, good. Center. Parehong tama yan. Okay, what else? Ano pa ba hindi ko na-cover dito? Some of our O sounds. Okay. Minsan kasi, we just pronounce it one way, puro O. Because of our language, e, I, O, U. But in English, each syllable, each vowel can have different sounds. Minsan, 2, 3, 4 sounds tulad ng O. It can be O, it can be O. The problem is, madalas nating sabihin na O lang siya. Kunwari, potato. Hindi ba mas English kapag it's a potato? O, imbis na potato. Right? Instead of saying, okay, gawin yung O. Okay. Imbis na yung S-O, how do you pronounce it? So, mas maganda kung so. Imbis na go there. You, go there. Imbis na go there, you can say go there. Go there, please. Go there right now. So please hurry up. So please hurry up. Mas maganda. Sir, ang arte naman yan, nakakaya. Anong gusto nyo? Mas okay na yung nakakaya kaysa bumagsak. Actually, mas nakakaya pag bumagsak ka, di ba? Right? Kasi nakakadya baka isipin nila maarte ako. You're gonna speak English when you pass your test. When you go abroad, you're gonna be speaking English all the time. So wag kayong maya because it's the proper way. Tandaan nyo hindi kinakaya ang tama. Okay? Hindi kinakaya ang tama. Kinakaya yung mali. So ano yung nakakaya? Nagsinungaling ka. Yan, sa resume mo. Naku, nakakaya yan. Okay, sinabi mo, ano ba, hindi totoo yung mga kinikling mo. Sinabi mo, nag-graduate ka, di ka naman nag-graduate. Yan, nakakaya yan. O kaya, may ginawa ka masama, di mo naman inaamin. Ikaw pang galit. Yan. O kaya, ano ba nakakaya? Yumaman ka dahil sa pagnanakaw. Yan, nakakaya yan. Okay? Pero yung mag-pronounce ka ng tama, hindi nakakaya yun. That's what you need. Parang the problem is, parang nabaligtad na yung values natin dito sa Pilipinas. Minsan okay na yung nakakaya. Guys, nakakaya yung pangit yung pronunciation. Nakakaya yung 3, 4, 5, 6 na beses ka nang bumagsak sa test dahil ayaw mong ayusin yung pagpronounce mo. Okay? If there's a time na kailangan maging maarte, ngayon na yun. So, artehan yan. Go ahead. Obstacle. From Jeffrey. Paano daw yung obstacle? O lang siya, obstacle. Kasi, pakinggan niyo, obstacle. Pag masyadong mahirap, malamang mali. Obstacle. Obstacle. Ko. Okay? Naku, itong mga to. Thank you, Pamin. Itong pangalan. Maria Myret. Ano daw yung tama? Attitude or attitude? Parang Spanish yung attitude, no? Solitude or solitude? YouTube or YouTube? I'm gonna pronounce them properly. Attitude, solitude, YouTube. Hindi ko alam sino yung... Kasi nga yung T, ina-aspirate. So it's not attitude, it's attitude. Solitude, YouTube. If you want to use this kind of accent, usually, bandang New York to. You can say attitude, pero kailangan yung T naka-aspirate pa rin siya. Attitude, solitude, YouTube. But I'd rather just say YouTube, solitude, attitude. Tama naman yun. 4. These are homonyms, no? Yung 4 tsaka yung para, 4 and 4, pareho lang yan. Okay? So, ayun po. So I give you some pronunciation lessons as practice. Pinamis ko kasi to during my last webinar with I think so. There you go. Now let's work on some questions I'd like to share with you some recent questions. Hindi lang speaking, unahin ko yung writing, no? Because somebody just messaged me. Ito daw yung lumabas sa writing kanina. This morning. Let me retrieve it. So this was the part 2 question earlier. So baka gusto niyo pag-practicean. Where's the chat? Okay, I'm gonna place it in the chat box. Ako, maganda to. Yan. Can somebody read it for me just to make sure na nalagay sa na nakikita ng lahat? Someone in the group. Pakibasa nga.
Yung mga nakikita ninyo, wait lang, asa na nakanino to? Nakanino yung nakanino yung outro niya. Hindi ko alam.
Ako na lang, no? So, some people say it's better for the young to get advice from older people than other younger people. Malamang to what extent do you agree or disagree with this? Kasi academic yung nagsabi sa akin. So ayan po. You need to write at least 250 words. Suggested time is 40 minutes. So kanina po umaga. Lumabas yan. Philippines. Sayang hindi writing yung lesson natin. Gusto ko nang sulat tuloy. So, bonus na lang yan. How about the speaking questions? Ito po yung lumabas today. Yesterday. Okay, of course, there are many speaking questions. I think they have and each examiner has 16 sets of questions prepared. So this is one of them. Let me just retrieve it. For part 1, here, lagay natin sa chat box. So part 1. Let's have a quick read. So part 1, are you working or studying? The most common opening question. What are your plans after finishing your studies? What do you like most about your job? Is there anything you'd like to change or improve about this job? Is it better to live in a place with cold weather or hot weather? Do you think the weather can affect emotions? Lumalabas din yan. Talk about a law. Okay. And then, for part 2, saan ba yan? Here. Talk about a place where you went for a holiday. Okay, so where is it? What did you do there? When did this happen, and say what you liked or disliked about this holiday? Oh, madali lang yan. My God, you can even invent it. Your answer doesn't even need to be accurate for that. Okay, and then for part 3, nako, nilagyan ko na ng sagot. I'm just gonna erase some of the answers. Wait. You go in the chat box. Oh, masyadong marami. Okay, let me just do it one by one. So the follow-up question to that is, would you recommend this place to others? And then next is, what gadgets do people in your country use most often? Alam niyo na yung sagot, no? I think everyone knows the answer to this. It's mobile phones. You can also say tablets, laptops, typewriters. Hindi siguro. Yeah, usually smartphones. Yeah. Next, what are the positive and negative effects of constantly using gadgets and other devices? Remember, they ask for the positive and negative effects. So, ang pwede nyo gawin dito, you think of 1 positive, 3 negatives. Pwede namang 3 positive, 1 negative. Okay yan. It's mas madali. Okay, if you want an easier time, 2 positives and 2 negatives, but you have to address both. If you only answer with the positive, that's not the best way to answer it. You need to give a complete answer. Next, what kind of technology would you like to be invented? Some people have a hard time with this one. Why? Because we don't think of these, right? And you need to use the future tense, by the way. Future tense. Okay. Pinahirap sa mga tenses. And then the final 2 questions that were asked. First one, do you think that people should continue using airplanes despite the large amounts of carbon emissions they produce? I was so happy when my student told me, tinanong yan sa kanya. Bakit? The examiners actually adapt the questions to your skill level. If they think you can handle it, they will give you harder questions. It also means there's a possibility of a higher score. So please, guys, during your interview, if they start arguing with you, hindi naman yung magagalit, but like debating maybe, just an academic discussion. If they start arguing with you, disagreeing with you, okay? If they start like using very difficult words, if they start making it difficult for you, you should be happy and thankful for that. Why? Because they're giving you a chance to get a higher score. If they ask you easy questions, hanggang 6 lang yan. Mas maganda tinatanong kayo ng mahirap. It's part of the test because the examiners have to see the range of your skills. Nasan ba yung upper limit ninyo? Okay? So the questions really do get progressively more and more difficult. And then they will usually ask you questions that they think is slightly above your current level. So kung kunwari, for instance, if they think that you're a 7, they'll keep on asking you band 8 questions to give you a chance to get to band 8. Okay? Now, if you can easily answer band 8 questions, again, they're gonna make it more difficult. Para meron kayong chance. Right? All right. May tanong si Jess, what tense is best to use to answer the question? Oh, depends on the question. If they ask you about something in the past tense. If they ask you about something in the present. If they ask you what technology would you like to see invented, syempre, future tense yan. Okay? And then the last one was, how can people help reduce global warming? Kasasabi pa lang, ayaw daw ng environmental questions ng ibang mga members. Okay. So, ano ba yung magagandang sagot siya? Sige, we can, if you want, we can answer some of these. And if you want me to take a look at your answers, I can look at a few for each one. And then give you free advice. Huwag kayong maya because I don't even know your faces. I don't know you personally. What if you make a mistake? Edi you made a mistake and I will help you correct that. By the way, since we mentioned yung environmental questions, I want to share this one with you. Ito. This is a common question. I've been seeing this question for years now. How would you answer this, people? Look at your chat box. Describe a good law in your country. Please say what the law is, how you first learned about the law, who the law affects, and explain why it's a good law. So, do you need to memorize RA 9210, 9210? Kailangan ba? Do you need to memorize the name of the whole thing? Of course not. You just need to be able to explain it. However, it is more impressive if you can actually, give at least the main name of the law. Or if you can recite the numbers, then that would be more impressive, syempre. Yes, Sunshine, very good. My personal answer to this is yung VAUSI. Have you heard of it? This is my favorite answer to that. Especially if the examiner is female. Kasi minsan Minsan di nyo iniisip yung examiner. You can easily get a higher score if you just think about the person giving you the grade. Who's interviewing me? How old is this examiner? Okay, what's the gender? So what kind of answers would they like to hear? You give them what they want. Okay? So ako, whenever if I get a female examiner, yung mga sinasagot ko, female, talk about a historical figure. Di Florence Nightingale, imbis na puro Adolf Hitler. Di ba? So, imbis na, ano ba, Pierre Curie, edi Marie Curie. You can adjust your answers to get a better score. So anyway, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. Yun po yung full name niya. Okay? And it's good because it protects women and children in the Philippines. They give them a lot of rights, a lot of protections, landmark yan. So what do you do? Okay? Magdarasal ba kayo na sana hindi ko makuha yung question na yun, sana hindi lumitaw. Guys, instead of praying that you won't get it, mag-prepare na lang kayo. So right now, you don't have an answer for it. Okay. Maybe you can do a little research tomorrow morning or even after the session if you want, so that you'll be prepared during the test. Ano lang, preparation lang yan. Okay, if you prepare something, you don't even need to memorize it. You just need an idea. Okay, so let's start with a few warm-up questions. Okay, sige. So I'm gonna post a question there in the chat box, and if you want to volunteer your answer, if you want me to comment, okay, I'm gonna check the first 2 or 3. All right, and then I'm gonna give you a model answer. Okay ba yan? Good deal. So, question from Sunshine. Is it a must to answer all the bullets? So, balikan natin itong describe a good law in your country. Kailangan ba masagot mo lang ng bullets? Actually, okay, I don't want to say hindi. Not necessarily. Okay, because these are just guide questions. But you know what? In general, it's a good idea to answer all of them. Why? Because it's 2 minutes. Imaginein mo, 2 minutes, tapos hindi mo pa sinagot yung iba dyan. Patay tayo dyan. So these questions were designed to help you reach your target. Okay? So, in fact, itong bullet points na to, pwede nyo bali-balik ka rin. Okay? Pwede ka mag-skip ng isa. In fact, you can even add information that's not being asked there. Okay? But please don't forget to answer the 4th question. All right? Because the 4th question is always the most important. Pwede mong kalimutan itong pangalawang bullet point, how you first learned about the law. You can, even if you forget that, you can still get a pretty good score, 7-8. Okay? Who the law affects, pwede mo rin makalimutan sagutin yan. But if you forget to answer the last question, then you might be in trouble. Because this is the heart of the task. Explain why it's a good law. Okay, nag-ingay yung aso ko. Wait lang. Okay, so I hope I was able to answer that. Oh, the Bayanihan Act, yeah, that's a good law. Okay, anything that helps the people is a good law. Kaso ginamit sa maling paraan. They use it the wrong way. Okay. Do you want sample responses for part 2 na naka-type? Imbes na sabihin ko lang, maybe would you like something that's written? Yeah. Sige, gato na lang, no? I'm just gonna post it. I'm just gonna post it on my page. Right? Sige. So after our discussion, maybe after 5 minutes, I'm gonna post 2 or 3 sample task 2 questions with answers. All right, just look for me on FB. It's Lee J. Jesus. Okay, pero please lang na don't get offended kasi medyo marami akong political post. Alright? Huwag niyo akong awayan kasi nakaaway din ako. So there, I'm gonna post up sample answers or mas maganda para walang personal because this is my personal page. Maybe you can just look for our World English page. Okay, sino bang kasama ko dito? Ma'am Cha, can you give the the link to our main page? Doon na lang natin i-post para walang political shit. Baka may matauhan pa dito. Cha. Okay. I'm gonna do that later. So yes, request granted. Yeah, lagay mo yung hindi, yung cha na staff ko. Sorry po, Ma'am Chachi. Yung World English na chat. Okay, please post our...
Ako po yun, sir.
Ay, ikaw din yun. Okay. Paki-post na lang dito yung yung link sa World English page natin. Tapos mamaya, bigay ko sa iyo yung mga ipopost para ma-access ng group. Gusto nila nakasagot para sa para sa part 2. Okay?
Okay, sige po, sir.
Good luck sa mga kadebate ko. Hindi naman. I try to discuss properly. Bawal mga away. Biro lang. I try to use logic. Okay? So anyway, nasan na ako? Let's just admit the other participants. So now, let's work on a few questions, maybe a couple of part 1 questions, and then we're gonna work our way until part 3. Okay, and I will provide sample answers for you. May madali. May madalas lumabas. I want to choose answers that will come out. Yeah. Malay nyo, ito na rin yung lalabas sa exam ninyo. Oh, let's talk about this because Filipinos don't like this. So, and then I will give you like a few minutes to type your answer if you want me to check it, all right? Then bigyan ko kayo ng sample. So, ito, simple question. In the chat box, is it better to live in a place with dry or with wet weather? Is it better to live in a place with dry weather or wet weather? I'll give you 2 minutes for those who want their answers checked. Just type them in the chat box po, then I will comment. So kung naiya kayo, you can send to me. If you're a bit shy, if you don't want to show your answers to the other participants, i-PM nyo na lang sa akin. Just send it as a direct message and then I'll just put it somewhere else para walang jahi-jahi. Is it better to live in a place with dry weather or wet weather? Type your answer. I'll check the first 2 or 3. So this is just a part 1 question. So 2 to 3 sentences would be enough. Okay, and meron na nag-send sa akin. So, okay, let me share my screen. Okay. So is it better to live in a place with dry weather or wet weather? Enlarge natin. So sabi niya, I personally think that it's better to live in a place where summer is all year round because it uplifts other individuals' mood and productivity. Okay, one thing you need to bear in mind is, hindi to writing, it's speaking. So kapag speaking, wag masyadong formal. Writing requires a more formal style. Kaya nga sa writing, bawal ang contractions. Sa writing, di dapat kayo nag-ano Sa part 2, task 2 and academic task 1. Dapat walang contractions, walang don't, shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, dapat pang speaking lang yan. Okay? And wag masyadong formal kasi ang tinetesting nila, how you would speak with other people during, at work or maybe in university. So, ingat kasi baka masyadong formal. Okay? Something that's more casual, more conversational siguro. Tapos, this answer can be improved by paraphrasing. Kasi tingnan nyo, sabi niya, is it better to live in a place with dry or wet weather? Ginaya lang sabi, personally think it's better to live in a place. So walang paraphrasing na nangyari doon. So if I were to edit this, siguro I personally think that live in a place. Okay. If I can have my way, it would be summer all year round. So that's the first sentence. Tapos masyadong seryoso yung because it uplifts. By the way, uplifts. It uplifts. Pang na to, pang essay na to. Maybe warm and dry weather like this can improve a person's mood and productivity. Okay na. That's nice. Okay, let's take a look at the others. Huwag niyong paka-formal. You'd be surprised kung ano lang yung tunog ng mga sagot ko. I didn't try to give formal answers during my test. I still got a 9 twice. Alright? So yung second na sumagot, this one's nice. Ito. Sabi niya, I prefer to stay and reside in a dry weather because it is more comfortable and soothing rather than a wet weather that can cause a lot of disturbances and negative impact. So let's fix the grammar and the word choice also. So I would prefer to stay and reside. Pareho lang yung stay and reside, no? This is a bad habit among many candidates. Kapag pareho lang yung meaning ng mga words, huwag yun ng doble. And kunwari, it's large and big. Pareho lang yun. Wag. Conciseness is important. Stay and reside, they're almost the same. So, pili na lang ng isa. Siguro, reside na lang. Okay, I would prefer to reside in a dry weather. No, walang a. I prefer to reside in dry weather or a region with dry weather. Okay, or in a location with dry weather because it's more comfortable, agree, pero soothing. That's what, if you use soothing here, you'd need to explain it because it's not easily understood. Okay, it's more comfortable. Period. Okay. I really hate, or I really don't like. I really don't like wet weather. Wala nang a. Okay, wet weather that can cause a lot of disturbances and negative impacts. It would be better to be more specific because this is general. Okay? Parang tinanong ka, anong plano mong gawin? Lalabanan natin ang katiwalian. Motherhood statement, kailangan specific. Paano nga? Paano? Be specific. Okay? Whether that can cause a lot of inconvenience lang yan. inconvenience. Tapos magbigay ka ng example such as wet socks. Wet socks or muddy shoes. Okay? Much better answer. Ganda niya bigla. Next. One more. By the way, ang sabi, wet weather and dry weather, no? Because wet is not necessarily cold. Okay? If you have better language skills, so alam niyo yung dapat yung distinction nun. Hindi porke sinabing dry, hot na. There are some dry places that are very cold. For instance, one of the driest places in the whole world is also the coldest, Antarctica. Okay, dun sa South Pole. Very dry. It doesn't rain. Walang ulan doon. Okay, and wet weather can be very cold, like what? In Alaska, it's very wet and it's very cold. But if you go to to South America, okay, in places like like the Amazon basin, it's very wet and it's also very hot. So ingat kayo baka mali yung ine-equate ninyo. Yan, ang tinatanong dry tsaka wet. So personally, what would I answer here? So let me share with you my answer tsaka baka mabigla kayo kung gaano lang siya kasimple. Here's my personal answer. Kulay red. So sinabi ko lang, dry places are much more preferable for me because I don't like the rain. I don't enjoy getting mud on my shoes or walking on wet snow. That's my answer. Talaga? Nakanahin ka dyan? Oo, you'd be surprised. Kailangan lang casual. Okay? And it's actually not so much the wordings, but how you say it. Tinitingnan dyan, paano mo sinabi? Do you look comfortable when you're saying it? Do you look confident when you're saying it? Okay? So one of the ways to sound like that is, don't be intimidated by your examiner. Kasi pag nagpa-intimidate kayo, wala na. You won't be confident with what you're saying. You know what? During the interview, you can laugh at yourself. You can smile. You can give a funny answer. In fact, back in 2006, during my first test, ganito po ako nagpa-interview. I was wearing long sleeves and a necktie, by the way. Yes, sir. My name is DJ Desus. Well, I believe that in these circumstances, ganun yung sagot ko. My God, the examiner gave me a 7.5. Okay, which is low for me. Okay, pero nung naka-9 ako, 2019 and last year, I was just wearing a button-up polo shirt. Hanggang dito lang. Much like what I'm wearing now. Tapos, ang upo ko ganito. Yan. And then my hands were like this. I don't like the rain, so dry places are much more preferable for me. I don't like getting mud on my shoes or walking on wet snow. I don't like changing my socks. So ano napansin yung kaibahan between this and this? Mas relaxed, di ba? So one easy trick I can share with you is you can use your face to send a clearer message. If you're talking about something that you don't like, tanong kayo. And then show it in your voice. When you're talking about something that you like, kunwari, ganun ka, what is your favorite, who's your favorite singer? Imbis na, my favorite singer is Ariana Grande. Imbis na ganun, I love Ariana. I love her songs. Ganun dapat. Walang nang emotion. So minsan parang nagbabasa sa simbahan. Guys, don't be a flat speaker. Kung kahit na yun lang ang gawin nyo, even if you don't improve the others that much, if you just change your attitude about the test, ang laki ng madadagdag sa score ninyo. Okay? Wow, thank you for the answers. Ang dami. Yeah, more relaxed and conversational. However, how do you get to that level? Good quality practice. Good quality practice. Yung iba kasi puro practice lang, pero yung practice nila, hindi good quality. Okay? Next. Okay, next question na tayo. No? Sorry, you have a lot of answers. So, check a few. Yeah, don't worry, I won't repeat. Kung na-check ko na po yung answer ninyo, give the others a chance. No? Kasi baka mabilis kayo mag-type. Lugi sila. Another part 1 question. Okay. Mm, something challenging. Oh, this one's good. Chat box. Sorry. Just gonna put it here in the on the word file. There you go. So the question is napping during the day a good habit? Sige, I'll check 2 answers. Is napping during the day a good habit? Let's check the first one. Remember, this is just a part 1 question, so 2 to 3 sentences would be enough. Okay. Wow. I'm getting some really nice answers. Parang gusto, parang masarap piliin lahat. Uh, let's see. Okay. So from Clark, sabi niya, it's enlarged. Lagyan natin ng can, no? Napping can boost the mood and renew. Okay, and renew our energy. Therefore, it is a great activity. Actually, di ba pag nagnanap ka, parang kabaligtaran siya ng activity. Okay, so you can say it is a great thing to do. Okay. Not only for children, but for adults as well. So don't forget the 4, importante yan. Good. Napping can boost the mood and renew our energy. Therefore, it's a great thing to do not only for children, but for adults as well. Kung gusto mong dugtungan doon, okay, pwede mong bulahin yung examiner. Maybe you can say, I make it a point. I make it a point to take a 15-minute po, hindi 15 minutes, no? Kasi I'm using it as an adjective. A 15-minute power nap. Okay? In the office after eating lunch. Why did I add this? Kasi power nap, that's good for your vocab. Okay. Secondly, I wanted to show that I know how to use certain structures like yung 15-minute as an adjective instead of as a noun. Kasi kung noun yung 15 minutes na yan, merong S 15 minutes, but if you use it as an adjective, walang plural ang mga adjective eh. Kaya 15-minute power nap. Okay? One more. Oh, by the way, Trisha Calbang, our tutorial for tomorrow is at 10 a.m., not 9. Okay? 10 a.m. tayo, hindi alas 9. Trisha. I know this. Yeah, I don't wake up at 9. Here's another one. Ay, teka lang. Na-check ko na pala itong kay somebody else. Ito. Here's one more answer. Sabi niya, I think there's nothing wrong if a person sleeps in the middle of the day, it's actually best to take time off from all our chores. Okay, let's improve this one. I think there's nothing wrong if a person sleeps. When you say sleep, kasi they tend to think of this as a longer period of time. Okay? If a person takes a quick break, let's call it a break, okay, in the middle of the day. Well, napping can be done even in the late afternoon or late evening. Okay? Takes a quick break during the day. In fact, it is actually not best naman, but better to take some time off from all our chores. Okay, but if you want a higher score, let's make the word choice better. Uh, from the hustle and bustle of the day. Yeah. Hustle and bustle, yung kabisihan ng araw. Okay, hustle and bustle. So that's idiomatic language. Okay, so I hope you can use this during your test. Let's try one part 3 answer. Okay, part 3. Kasi so far, puro part 1 lang. Ano na pala, we're almost out of time. So, one part 3 answer. Ito po, very simple. Here, look at my screen. So, what kind of jobs would be in demand in the future? What kind of jobs would be in demand in the future? So, you can write, well, 4 sentences would be ideal, but if your sentences are long, pwede ring 3. Okay? 3 long sentences, 4 medium-sized sentences, maybe even 5. So I'll give you a few minutes to write your answer. This will be the last one for today. Fortunately, hanggang 11 lang po tayo. Ito rin ang ibang mga sagot, oh. Yueng, good answer, but it doesn't need to be this long. In fact, if you answer this during your test, malamang ika-cut off ka ng examiner mo. Sige po kung pwede bigyan ng feedback. The other answers are quite good. Okay, next natin. What kind of jobs will be in demand in the future? TSB, dagdagan mo pa ng konti. This is too short. This is too short for part 3. Okay. 3, 4, or 5 sentences dapat ang ano, mga part 3 questions. Should be longer. We're running out of time. Ganito na lang. I'll just show you my answer. The book. So I wrote this like a few days ago. I believe that career opportunities in business jobs, okay, that career opportunities related to technology and the internet will become very common in the coming years, in the future, paraphrase, in the coming years. People such as Programmers, engineers, web devs, and systems managers will increase dramatically. So, one way to lengthen your answer, magbigay kayo ng ng example. Okay, details are important. However, I also think that skilled work will become better paid because fewer people will know how to do jobs such as carpentry, metalwork, and masonry. Alam ngayon ng examiner, ang dami niyang alam na words pagdating na related sa career tsaka sa jobs. Right? So to close off our session, so final tips from me. Nice. So some final tips and some final reminders. Some final tips and final reminders. Okay. If you need more help, you can always come to us for help. Okay. So I know there are many review centers, but you've seen how we do it. Okay? And a self-review isn't enough if your target is high. Kung 5 lang yan, IFNG can definitely help you. Ang dali lang yan. Pero pag 6.5, 7 na yung pinag-uusapan, maybe you need a more personalized tutorial. Okay. You have access to teachers. Okay. In fact, you can choose your schedules. Okay. We're available 7 days a week. Pwede nyo pilihan kung anong oras. We're only a small company, but we're highly trusted. You can ask British Council about us and IDP. We don't employ a factory approach. You saw what I did with speaking, di ba? I ask you questions, we take a look at your answer, and then I comment on your answers. Ganito rin kami sa one-on-one. Pero ikaw lang yung kausap namin. We provide daily guidance. We have a hidden group page for our students. And we don't give you any bad offers like leakage, ganyan. Those are fake. Wala po. We are well recognized by the British Council. In fact, we just won awards again. Okay, we're number 3 nationwide, which I don't know how we did that. More importantly, we're top 1 in our region. Also received recently some awards from IDP, and again, unexpected. And if you enroll in our online IELTS or OET review, ask for a discount po until February 6. This is our OET homepage and this is our IELTS homepage. Dito ko po ipopost yung nire-request nyo na sample answers. Okay? I'm gonna post answers for part 2 and part 3. Okay? Ma'am Cha, para lagay naman ng link para maano na nila. Ayan na pala. So it's there already in the chat box. So final piece of advice po. Speaking is a skill. It's something that you cannot improve by watching lang. Kung nanonood lang kayo, that's just the first step. A skill has to be performed. Okay? So practice regularly. I-calendar niyo po. Make sure that you practice. Kung mas maganda if you can practice every day. Okay? If you cannot practice with real people, at least record yourself. Okay? And it doesn't need to be like an hour-long practice. 10 to 15 minutes would be enough. Right? And make sure that your practice is good quality. So it should be uninterrupted, free from distractions. It should be recorded. And hopefully there should be someone to give you good feedback on your pronunciation, on your grammar, and to give you suggestions on better answers. Okay. So sir, that's it for me. Sayang kulang yung time, no? I wasn't able to cover techniques for part 2. May mga diskarte pa yan. Okay, sir, it's your, I give you the floor. Maraming salamat po sa pag-attend. No problem. Yeah, sir. Wala kang audio. You might try to plug and unplug your headset. Yes, no problem.
Ayan, hello.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Okay. I'll just do the closing for you. So maraming salamat po sa lahat. If you need more assistance, marami ring materials na nilalagay sa IFNG page. Again, I'll be back. I have 2 sessions this February. On behalf of IFNG, maraming salamat po. We wish you all the luck and all the success in the future. See you next time. Bye-bye.